All right, we are doing Aeolus's Winds, the translation for it on page 20 in your Virgil packet. The Virgil packet that looks like this, so make sure you have that out. And make sure you turn to page 20, which looks like this. So we're picking up right where we talked about Juno bribing Aeolus, right, to destroy Aeneas's ships because she does not like him. And so she bribes Aeolus with a beautiful nymph, and he is the king of the winds, so he can send the winds out over the sea to destroy his ships, and that's what we're going to be reading now. As we go through this, you want to do it just like in class. You want to write the grammar that I write down right here on these Latin words. And then you want to write the translation as we go through it as well. So you should have it looking like the other pages that we've done in class with the grammar written above and the translation below. At the end of this, that is what you'll be taking a photo of and sending it to me. So please make sure you follow along. Here we go. Feel free to pause this at any point as you're going through it to make sure that you understand it. Feel free to ask me questions later about it as well. So the hike is from heek, hike, hoke. That is the neuter accusative plural, going with the word dicta, which is the perfect passive participle and the neuter accusative plural as well. Dicta is having been said as a perfect passive participle. We know that hike is this or these in the plural. So ubi is when. So when these things had been said, or when these things having been said, either one is correct because the perfect passive participle happens previously, and it is talking about what Juno has just said to Aeolus. Now we're going to jump into the meat of the sentence as we're going through. You want to try to find the verb. You can see as we start off, C, that is definitely a literary device. That is an alliteration that's supposed to really help us understand what's happening in the moment as he's going to hit the side of his mountain. So with the C, you got the alliteration going on. So you want to keep going till you get to your verb, and pull it is your verb, and that is to drive or to strike. And so that's the perfect form of it. So understood that in Aeolus is your subject. So he struck. You've got to find an accusative that he's striking. So if I look at the words that I passed previously, I can see the UM here and the EM here, both of those indicating an accusative singular ending. So those two words are going together. Cobweb, we get the word cave from it, and it means hollow or cave-like. So hollow mountain. Mountain is mountain. So notice how I drew the little mountain over there. And then we can see the word conversa and cupiste. Conversa is the ablative form, and it means turned. Cupiste means like a tip or a point, like the cusp of something. And they are both in the ablative form. You can see with that E ending there. So with a turned point, turned tip even. Hopefully you saw this literary device going on. I love this one. You got the turn tipped is literally inside of the hollow cave. So you can see how he's hitting the middle of the cave. So nice chiasm is going on there with the ABBA, which really helps to paint the picture of what's going on. So he struck the hollow mountain with a turned tip into the side, or in the side in latus here, and always has to be followed by the accusative or the ablative. You can see that US ending here. That's a neuter ablative singular. Neuter accusative singular. Accusative. So in the side, we get like lateral from that. So he struck the hollow mountain with a turned tip in the side. Or you could say he struck into the side of the hollow mountain with a turned tip. Both are correct. As we go through the next one, you want to try to break up this sentence to help it make sense. You can see they've done a nice job by putting in commas for you. So that's its own little phrase unit. And then qua is a relative clause. So that's its own little phrase as well. The word will loot, that always signifies a certain literary device because it means just like or like, which is a simile. So everything that I'm going to be underlining here in blue is actually the main part of the sentence itself. So let's just go through and translate it. We got the word winty from wintus. We know that one from our vocabulary. That is the nominative form of winds. So AC is just a fancy way to say et. So, and the winds, let's break it up then with our simile here, just like. The word agmene means an army line, and it's third declension. That's why with that E ending there, that makes it the ablative. So in an army line, facto is the fourth principal part of facio. So it is a perfect passive participle. So just like with an army line having been made, or you can say just like in a made army line. And then we're interrupted again by this relative clause, the qua here, in which the word data is the perfect passive participle from do, dari, dedi, having been given. A porta is a port or a gate, in which a gate having been given, or like a door having been given, right? So he created a door into the side of the mountain because the winds are going to rush out through this port or this door. So, and the winds, just like in an army line having been made with the port having been given, they rush out because runt is the main verb for winty is your plural subject here. They rush out and they perflant, they fly over or gloss over the terras. Terras is your accusative here, the lands. Turbine with that E ending, you can see that that is an ablative right there by itself. In a whirlwind, ablative of description. So they rush out and they fly over the lands in a whirlwind. So check out this picture. It's a little creepy, but it gives you an idea. Here's Aeolus with his scepter in his hand, his turned tip that we talked about earlier. And here's the port given in the side of the mountain. And he's hitting it, creating this port. And see these like little faces in here? They're a little creepy. Those are supposedly the winds that are going to rush out over the lands here in just a second. And the winds are always depicted in many different, very comical ways sometimes, but usually it's just a face blowing. And so you can see like here, and this one is where he's holding the ship and he's blowing it. And then here is actually a terracotta frieze from antiquity indicating the winds blowing over the seas. Nice personification. All right, moving on, incubere. Incubere is the third stem with an ERE on the end. So we talked about that earlier. That is what is known as syncopation. So syncopation, that means that it should actually be erunt on the end, and so it should be incubuerunt, which means they lie upon, and they're going to lie upon something in the ablative because that's how that verb works. And so the word in the ablative here is mari, and that doesn't look like a normal ablative ending in an I, but we're going to talk about that soon. That is what is called a third I stem, third declension I stem. And it is just an irregular form. So they lie upon the mari, which is the sea. So this is the winds. And because this que here says flip me, so and totem, we can see that that's an accusative. We'll come back to that. A sedibus imus, that a creates an ablative phrase. So we're going to come back to that in a minute because that's just our fluff. Una is an adverb, and usually you see una and you think one, but used in this form as an adverb, it means together. And then we're going to list out a bunch of names. Got Eurus, Notus, and Africus, and these are all names actually of winds. Okay, so here's one of the best images I can find for it because the names of the winds actually just absolutely baffle me. So you can leave them in their actual name, or you can translate like what direction the wind is. You can see Eurus here is southeast wind. You can see the Notus, ready, is the south wind. Isn't that confusing? Shouldn't that be north? Drives me crazy. You can see that Africus is the southwest wind. So I could never remember those, so I always keep them in their normal forms or in their name forms, but you do you. All right, so these are all your nominatives here. We got Eurus, Notus, and Africus are all the subjects going on here. And then you can see the verb runt again is the plural verb, so rush over. We got this word creber, so the que is am. In fact, notice all these quays here, que, this wind, and this wind, and this wind. That is a literary device called a polysyndeton to help us understand how many winds he's letting out itself. So they're all the subjects. The word creber here is in the nominative, and it's going with the word Africus. Creber means thick, so thick Africus, and it's thick with procellus. Procellus here is in the ablative, and that itself means winds or gales of a wind, the breeze. You could say thick with breezes or thick with winds, Africus. It's describing it. So here's our sentence. We go subject, verb, object. So I'm going to start with the adverb together, subject, Eurus, note, and notice, and thick with wind, Africus, rush over. And we need an accusative. What do they rush over? They rush over totem, everything. That's our accusative. And then the fluff here, this ablative phrase, from the lowest depths or from the lowest seats, sedibus, meaning they started at the very bottom of their mountain cave. They rushed out over everything from their lowest depths. I'll say it one more time. Together, Eurus, Notus, and thick with wind Africus rush over everything from the lowest depths. And still understand them as a subject, volunt, they turn. And what do they turn? They need to turn something in the accusative. You see the word vastos ending in an OS is accusative, and it means vast, just like you'd think in English. And the word fluctus, from the fourth declension word, I love that word, fluctus, it means like a wave. And so vast waves going together, nice, like how vast it's showing itself to be because it's so far apart there. Ad litora, ad always takes an accusative after it, toward the shores. So it turns the vast waves toward the shores. So to give you an image of that, if you've seen this, I'm sure, probably you're thinking, man, I wish I was at the beach now. But that's where the waves come back and forward, and see how they're turning the vast waves toward the shores themselves. All right, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll get quicker and better at this as we go along, but hopefully you write down all this grammar and you've written down the English translation as well. What you need to do now is answer the comprehension questions 14 through 19. You should have all the answers to that. Should take you no time at all, as long as you follow this video. Take a picture of both of these pages, 20 and 21, and then upload them to your Google Drive folder. And you are done with Latin for the day. All right, see you later. Bye. Sorry, one quick announcement. As I was watching it over, I noticed my mistake. Hopefully you guys did too. Sorry about that. I wrote accusative above the word mari here. That should say ablative. Sorry about that.